The notification on my Slack app was glowing red like a warning light on a nuclear reactor. Give me the shared drive password and clean out your desk, all caps, from Kevin Sullivan, VP of Operations. I'm Brian Mitchell, 49 years old, and I've been the independent IT systems architect for this logistics company for 11 years. This moron just tried to fire me via instant message. Let me back up a bit. There's a specific kind of quiet in a server room that smells like ozone and job security. It's the hum of thousands of fans keeping a logistics giant's heart beating. For 11 years, I've been the guy who knows why that heart keeps beating. I'm not some employee you can just dismiss with a text message. I'm an independent contractor with a bulletproof service agreement that requires 30-day notice, board consensus, and a payout that would make the CFO weep actual tears. Kevin Sullivan didn't just walk into our Chicago office 3 weeks ago. He vibrated in like a tuning fork struck by lightning. Private equity parachute drop with a resume that looked like it was written by ChatGPT having a nervous breakdown. Harvard MBA, 6 months at McKinsey, 2 years at some blockchain startup that folded faster than a house of cards in a hurricane. He had teeth too white, a suit too blue, and used words like synergy and pivot without any hint of irony. The guy thought cloud computing literally meant the internet lived in the sky. I've seen his type before. Back in the dot-com crash of 2001, I watched dozens of these corporate consultants parachute into stable companies, slash everything that looked expensive, then jump to the next victim before the bodies hit the ground. The difference is, back then I was just a senior developer. Now I'm the architect who built the foundation they're standing on. I knew we were doomed the moment he walked past my corner desk, negotiated that spot back in 2016 for the extra monitor space, and tapped my main screen with his class ring. MIT, of course. Probably bought it on eBay. Hey Brian, can we boost the Wi-Fi in the conference room? I'm trying to stream a leadership TED Talk. I looked up from my SQL database reconfiguration, which handles about $40 million in shipping manifests daily. That's not a typo. This system processes 847 trucks, 312 warehouses, and supply chains for everyone from Amazon to small medical device manufacturers. One hiccup and insulin shipments to diabetics get delayed. I don't handle Wi-Fi signals, Kevin. I manage enterprise architecture. Put a ticket in with the help desk for connectivity issues. He laughed. Short barking sound like a seal with bronchitis. Right. Tech is tech. Just make it happen. We're streamlining here. We need agility. He walked away before I could explain that asking me to fix Wi-Fi is like asking a heart surgeon to check your blood pressure because they both work with the cardiovascular system. This was my first clue that Kevin couldn't distinguish between a systems architect and the guy who resets your password when you forget it for the 15th time. The thing about being a vendor for over a decade is people forget you're not staff. You're there every day, you have a badge that says contractor in small print, nobody reads, you drink the terrible break room coffee, you know whose wife is cheating with the tennis instructor and whose husband is secretly taking online cooking classes. But there's a massive legal difference that guys like Kevin never bother to understand. My contract isn't an employment agreement. It's a business-to-business service-level agreement with a termination clause that would make grown executives weep blood. 30-day written notice. Board consensus requiring 67% approval, because must be documented with 3 independent technical reviews. And if they breach any of these requirements, they owe me the full remaining contract value plus punitive damages. My lawyer, Anthony Rodriguez, writes contracts like he's designing bear traps for corporate executives. Kevin didn't read the contract. Kevin probably didn't even read the employee handbook. Kevin was too busy disrupting the department with his vision for enterprise transformation through technological paradigm shifts. I'm not making that up. He actually said that in an email. 2 days after the Wi-Fi incident, the emails started flowing. Not requests, summons. All hands tech huddle 8 a.m. Strategy alignment mandatory. Innovation workshop. Attendance required. Synergy session. Non-negotiable participation. I deleted every single one. I'm a vendor. I bill $175 per hour for specific deliverables outlined in my statement of work. Unless you're paying my meeting rate, which is $525 per hour and requires advance written authorization, I'm not coming to your corporate circle session to hear about your vision for a leaner, more agile future. I've been through 4 economic downturns, 7 CEOs, and 12 VPs. I know how this story ends. Kevin didn't like being ignored. He started hovering around my desk like cigarette smoke in a non-smoking building. You could feel his presence before you saw him. "Brian, noticed you weren't at the stand-up yesterday," he said, leaning against my cubicle wall with practiced casual authority. "I was migrating backup servers so the investor report doesn't crash the system Friday. It's documented in the weekly scope report I sent you Monday." "Right, but we need to be a team here, Brian. Silos are the enemy of progress. We're building something bigger. My contract specifies my scope of work, Kevin. Team-building exercises and corporate philosophy sessions aren't included in the deliverables." His eyes narrowed like a predator spotting weakness. "Everyone is replaceable, Brian. Technology is just a commodity these days. We can outsource this stuff to kids in India for pennies on the dollar." I turned my chair to face him dead on. "My code isn't a commodity, Kevin. It's the structural integrity of this building. You don't replace the foundation while standing on the roof." He gave me that condescending smirk that every middle manager learns in Business School 101. The one that says, "I'm the boss and you're just help." "We'll see about that, Brian. I'm bringing in some modern tools, cloud-based solutions. We're going to clean house and drag this place into the 21st century." That's when I knew this moron was planning something catastrophically stupid. He saw a middle-aged guy in a polo shirt and jeans sitting in a corner cubicle and assumed I was some legacy hire waiting for extinction. He didn't realize he was looking at the guy who rebuilt this entire infrastructure after the 2008 financial crisis when the company almost went under. He didn't know I was the meteor that was about to end his brief corporate reign. The office atmosphere started changing over the next few days. You know how animals can sense earthquakes before they hit? The older executives who knew where the bodies were buried started exhibiting that same nervous energy. Scott Williams, our CIO, who looked like he'd survived 3 wars, a divorce, and the dot-com bubble, stopped by my desk around 4 p.m. on Wednesday. "He's asking for credentials," Scott whispered, clutching his coffee mug like a lifeline. "Admin access to everything, root directories, backup archives, encryption keys." "You giving it to him?" I asked, not looking away from my terminal where I was optimizing database queries. I told him proper channels, legal review, security protocols. He says he wants to audit inefficiencies and eliminate redundancies. Scott's voice had that tremor you get when you're watching a train wreck in slow motion. I laughed. Cold, dry sound like autumn leaves. Let him audit. He won't understand what he's reading anyway. Probably thinks MySQL is a fitness app. He's dangerous, Brian. Got the board's ear right now. They think he's some kind of turnaround artist who's going to save them millions. "He's going to turn something around, all right," I muttered, right into a brick wall at 90 miles per hour. That night, I went home to my quiet suburban apartment and didn't sleep. I sat in my home office surrounded by the blue glow of 3 monitors, pulled up my contract on the main screen, and read every legal term, every clause, every breach definition. Again, I wasn't being paranoid, I was being prepared. Anthony Rodriguez had written this contract back in 2018 when the company tried to convert me to full-time employee status to streamline operations. Smart move on their part would have been to accept my counterproposal. Instead, they got a contractor agreement that was basically a legal fortress with me inside and a moat full of lawyers around the perimeter. Guys like Kevin are predictable as sunrise. They need a quick win to justify their consulting fees, and they need a villain to blame when their brilliant strategy inevitably explodes. Kevin was going to try to make me the villain of his corporate success story. Problem was, he'd picked the wrong villain. Thursday morning, the storm broke like a dam bursting. That red Slack notification, "Give me the shared drive password and clean out your desk." I stared at the screen for a full 10 seconds. Didn't feel fear. Didn't feel anger. Felt the cold, mechanical click of a safety being switched off on a precision instrument. He'd CC'd Amanda from HR, sweet but absolutely clueless woman who probably thought a firewall was something firefighters used to stop house fires. The sheer incompetence was breathtaking, like watching a toddler try to perform brain surgery with a plastic spoon. Kevin thought he was firing an insubordinate employee. What he didn't understand is that my work isn't located at this desk. This desk is just a docking station. My real work lives in encrypted cloud tunnels, in automated scripts that run at 3 a.m. while Kevin is dreaming about his next performance bonus, in API keys that control robotic warehouse systems worth $50 million. I took screenshots, the message, the timestamp, the CC list showing Amanda from HR. I didn't reply. Rule number 1 of corporate warfare: never interrupt your enemy when he's making a mistake. Kevin was making a Titanic-sized mistake, and I was going to let him drive straight into the iceberg at full speed. I opened my private encrypted email, not the company Outlook that Kevin could potentially access, but my business account with military-grade encryption, and drafted a short, professional note to Anthony Rodriguez. Anthony is the kind of lawyer who wears three-piece suits in July and regards breach of contract cases with the same enthusiasm a shark has for a leaking life raft. Subject: material breach of service agreement. VP Operations attempted summary termination via Slack message. No 30-day notice, no board resolution. Currently demanding credentials that are contractually classified as intellectual property of my firm. Please advise on immediate legal response. I hit send and sat back with my lukewarm coffee. Tasted like battery acid and vindication. Kevin walked by my desk about 20 minutes later, looking confused to see me still sitting there like I hadn't received his imperial decree. "Did you get my message?" he asked, his voice loud enough to turn heads in the surrounding cubicles. "I did," I said calmly, "and I forwarded it to my legal counsel for review. As I'm a vendor, not an employee, any changes to our service agreement need to go through proper legal channels." His face went from normal human color to the shade of red you see on stop signs. Really clashed with that expensive blue suit. "I am the VP of Operations. I am the channel. You're my client's representative," I corrected. "There's a significant legal difference. We'll see about that." He snarled and stormed toward the HR department like an angry bull. I quietly minimized my active windows and paused a few non-essential maintenance scripts. I wasn't sabotaging anything. That would be unprofessional and frankly illegal. But I did pause the script that clears cache on the order processing dashboard every hour and the one that suppresses printer low toner alerts for the entire third floor. Petty? Maybe. Effective? Absolutely. Within an hour, the complaints started rolling in like waves hitting a seawall. "Hey, is the system running slow for anyone else?" someone yelled from the logistics pit. "My dashboard is freezing up. Why is every printer on floor 3 screaming at me about toner cartridges?" I sat there typing away at documentation, looking like the picture of productivity. I wasn't fixing the issues, wasn't even acknowledging them. Under the terms of my contract, I'm required to maintain system uptime for critical functions, but desktop support and minor glitch resolution require properly submitted tickets. Nobody was putting in tickets because they were all too busy panicking about their frozen screens. Kevin came storming out of HR about 45 minutes later, looking like someone had told him his BMW was being repossessed. Amanda from HR followed behind him, looking like she wanted to crawl under her desk and hide until retirement. She'd obviously pulled my file and realized that firing me was legally equivalent to firing the electric company. You can't just tell them to leave without following proper disconnection procedures. "You think you're smart?" Kevin hissed as he passed my desk. "I'm expensive, Kevin. There's a difference." He slammed his office door so hard the glass walls rattled like windows in a thunderstorm. My phone buzzed. Text from Anthony. "Drafting cease and desist letter now. Do not hand over anything. Do not leave premises unless security physically escorts you. If they touch your equipment, call police immediately. This is going to be fun." I smiled. Anthony's idea of fun usually involved opposing counsel weeping openly in depositions. The dashboard lag was getting progressively worse. I could see the server load spiking on my secondary monitor, memory usage climbing from 34% to 67% as cached queries piled up like cars in a traffic jam. It wouldn't crash the system, not yet, but everything was getting sluggish, sticky, frustrating. I could have fixed it with 2 keystrokes. Instead, I opened a new browser tab and started shopping for ergonomic office chairs. Around 2 p.m., Scott called my desk line. "Kevin's calling external IT support. Some outfit called TechnoWiz Solutions. Says he's bringing in a strike team to lock you out of the system." "Let him try," I said, not looking away from a very nice Herman Miller chair with lumbar support. My access credentials are hard-coded into the API keys for the automated warehouse bots. He cuts my user profile without properly migrating those keys first. Every robot in our facilities stops moving. $80 million worth of inventory becomes very expensive paperweights. Long silence on Scott's end. "I didn't know that. That's because you pay me to know it." Tell Kevin good luck with his strike team. At exactly 3:30 p.m., the cavalry arrived. Except it wasn't cavalry. It was 3 guys who looked like they'd been recruited from a community college computer lab. 2 in hoodies that had seen better decades, and a third wearing a Geek Squad polo with duct tape covering the logo. They probably charged $50 an hour and considered themselves elite because they could install Windows without calling tech support. Kevin greeted them like they were Navy SEALs arriving to liberate a hostage situation. "Gentlemen, welcome to the front lines. This is our main server access point," he said, gesturing dramatically at my workstation. "We need to migrate our entire database to this new cloud platform I procured. It's called CloudStream Pro, much more cost-effective than the antiquated custom system we're currently running." I felt ice water in my veins. CloudStream Pro was a budget hosting service designed for small e-commerce websites, not enterprise-grade logistics handling medical supplies and hazardous materials tracking. It was like trying to haul freight trains with a motorcycle. "Kevin," I said with the calm authority of an air traffic controller telling a pilot he's about to land on a highway, "you cannot migrate our database to a non-compliant server. That violates HIPAA regulations for medical shipments and DOT requirements for hazardous materials tracking." "Ignore the noise, guys," Kevin said, waving his hand dismissively. "He's just upset about being replaced by Progress. Plug in and run the migration wizard." The words migration wizard coming out of his mouth made my soul leave my body. One of the hoodie guys, let's call him Dropout A, plugged a USB drive into my main console. "Whoa, this system is ancient," Dropout A said, squinting at my screens. "It's running a custom Linux kernel with proprietary modules." "Perfect," Kevin said with the confidence of a man who thought HTML was a vitamin supplement. "Wipe all that legacy code. We want Windows Server 2019. Make it user-friendly." I reached for my phone and texted Scott. "They are attempting to re-image the production server. Stop them now." Then I started typing faster than I'd typed since the Y2K crisis. I wasn't hacking them. I was downloading system logs, capturing exact timestamps of every command they were entering. I needed documented proof that when this system inevitably exploded like a digital nuclear bomb, it wasn't because of anything I did. "Okay, initializing CloudStream migration," Dropout B announced cheerfully. "Getting a conflict message here. Says there's a protected directory called Do Not Touch or We Die." Kevin didn't even hesitate. "Override it. We need a clean slate. Fresh start." "Kevin," I said, standing up from my chair, "that directory contains the hash keys for our encrypted backups. If you override it, you lose 11 years of shipping history. You lose chain of custody documentation required by federal law." "Security!" Kevin yelled toward the elevators. "Can we get an escort for this disruption?" Eric, our 67-year-old security guard who I've shared Christmas cookies with for 5 years, walked over looking confused. "Mr. Bryan causing trouble?" Eric asked. "It's okay, Eric," I said, sitting back down. "I'm just documenting. I won't say another word." "Override confirmed," Dropout A said. "Migration starting in 3, 2, 1. The screen flickered. It started subtly. The big monitors on the logistics pit wall, the ones showing real-time GPS locations of our entire fleet, blinked once. Green dots representing 847 trucks across North America turned yellow. Then they froze completely. "Hey, GPS tracking is lagging," one of the dispatchers shouted. "I've got a driver in a blizzard asking for routing and I can't see where he is." The dashboard turned gray. A spinning wheel of death appeared dead center. "I can't see any trucks," another dispatcher yelled with genuine panic in his voice. "It's like our entire fleet just vanished." Kevin frowned but maintained his corporate confidence. "It's just migration buffering. System resources are reallocating. Everything will come back online momentarily." It didn't come back. Next casualty was our phone system. Our VoIP infrastructure ties directly into server bandwidth. When you clog the network with a massive, unoptimized data migration, voice packets get dropped faster than hot potatoes. The office went eerily silent as every phone line died simultaneously. This was immediately followed by the sound of 40 people saying, "Hello? Hello? Are you there?" into dead phones. "What did you do?" Scott came running out of his office, tie askew, looking like he'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes. "We're upgrading the infrastructure," Kevin shouted over the confusion, sweat now visible on his forehead. "You have to break some eggs to make an omelet." "You didn't break eggs," Scott screamed. "You broke our connection to $2 billion worth of supply chains." I sat there watching my private monitoring console. Error logs were scrolling by faster than credits at the end of a movie. Database lock failures, API timeouts, integrity check violations. And then came the piece de resistance, the automated billing system. Our invoicing script runs every day at 4 o'clock p.m. sharp, pulling shipping data from the main database to generate customer bills. But the database that Dropout A was currently obliterating with his migration wizard was returning null values for everything. Following its programming for missing data, the billing system defaulted to zero amounts and cheerfully started emailing invoices for $0,000 to our biggest clients. I watched the outgoing mail queue spike. 500 emails sent, 1,000 emails sent, 1,500 emails sent. "Kevin," I said, breaking my silence, "you just sent free shipping invoices to Amazon, Walmart, FedEx, and the Department of Defense." His face went from red to white faster than a traffic light malfunction. "Stop it! Cancel those emails!" "I can't," I said, holding up my hands. "I'm unauthorized personnel, remember? You fired me this morning. Fix it now. I need a signed work order and formal reinstatement of my contract with proper legal authorization. I'll sue you. I'll have you arrested. You already terminated my services, Kevin. My lawyer is going to have a field day with the fact that you ignored safety protocols I explicitly warned you about in front of witnesses." Just then, Dropout A panicked and yanked the USB drive out of the console without proper shutdown procedures. Every screen in the office went black, not just my workstation, but every monitor connected to our smart building systems. The office plunged into complete darkness as the automated lighting controller, also tied to our main server, reset itself to factory defaults. Emergency lighting kicked in with that lovely institutional buzz, casting everything in sickly green. In the eerie glow, Kevin's phone started ringing. He looked at the screen and went pale as cheap copy paper. It was his 4:30 p.m. calendar reminder. Quarterly performance demo. Lead investors, the people who controlled the funding. They were expecting a live demonstration of our industry-leading real-time logistics dashboard, the very dashboard that was currently displaying nothing but error messages in emergency lighting. Kevin scrambled into his glass office, set up his iPad on a stack of books, smoothed his hair, and put on his business face, a terrifying rictus of fake confidence. He connected to the Zoom call. "Gentlemen, ladies, slight technical difficulties here. We're conducting a comprehensive system stress test. Quality assurance protocols, you understand." A booming voice came through the iPad speaker. "Kevin, show us the fleet tracking metrics. We're getting reports of billing irregularities from our logistics partners. News travels fast when you accidentally tell Amazon they owe you nothing for a month of shipping services." "Minor display calibration issue," Kevin lied smoothly. "We're implementing the CloudStream Pro migration I mentioned in my quarterly report." "CloudStream Pro?" Another voice, colder now. "That's a budget hosting service for bloggers. Why are our DOT compliance logs being migrated to a non-certified platform?" Kevin tried to turn his iPad to show his laptop screen, but his corporate laptop was also connected to our dead Wi-Fi network. All it displayed was the sad chrome dinosaur indicating no internet connection. Connectivity density is high today. Solar flare activity affecting satellite uplinks." "Kevin," the first voice said with deadly calm, "we are in downtown Chicago. There are no satellites involved in fiber optic internet. Where is Brian Mitchell? He knows the actual system architecture." Kevin froze like a deer in headlights. Through the glass wall, he could see me sitting calmly at my desk, emergency lighting casting dramatic shadows across my face. "Brian is dealing with a personal emergency." "I'm right here," I called out. My voice cut through the glass like a laser through butter. "Was that Brian? That was maintenance staff, very technical maintenance staff." I stood up, walked to Kevin's glass door, and pressed my phone against it. On my screen was a message I'd typed in large text. "System failure. Unauthorized migration by unvetted personnel. Data integrity compromised. Federal compliance violated." Kevin tried to block the iPad's camera with his body, but in his panic he knocked the device over. It landed facing the glass wall, giving the investors a perfect view of me, my sign, the dark office, and the TechnoWiz guys holding their smoking USB drive like evidence at a crime scene. "Kevin." The investor's voice was arctic cold. "Terminate this call immediately. Do not touch anything else. We are contacting the board of directors." The iPad screen went black. Kevin stood there in the dark like a man who'd just realized he was standing in a minefield wearing tap shoes. The office stayed dead quiet for exactly 10 seconds. Then the whispers started spreading faster than gossip at a high school reunion. By 6 p.m., I had the system restored from my encrypted backup drives. By 8 p.m., Kevin was cleaning out his office. By 9 a.m. the next day, I had a new contract with a 200% salary increase, direct board oversight, and full veto power over any technical changes. Kevin lasted 26 days at our company. My 11-year contract just got extended for 3 more years. Sometimes the house wins, but sometimes the house forgets that the dealer built the table.